So can you tell me a bit about MaxMine Carbon, like how it sort of works, and just get a bit of an overview of that side of things?
Yeah, sure. So it's the latest offering, and essentially what MaxMine have done that I haven't seen any other company do before is they've built their very own board which gets installed into the machines. So they've built that so that it's vendor agnostic. So it doesn't matter whether mining companies have Caterpillar or Liebherr or any of the other Komatsu. That doesn't matter for us. We can still install the device and we can capture, store, analyze, and manage that data, using military sensor, really top of the range, super impressive stack. So essentially what we're doing is we're getting the data directly off the vehicles, including diesel usage. And then we've got all these other incredibly talented engineers within the company who've worked out how to calculate all of these different fuel usage, carbon emissions, etc. A heap of electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, people who live and breathe this type of stuff. So essentially, MaxMine Carbon is there to help mining companies understand their existing footprint. In a nutshell.
Right. It's really like sort of analyzes all the data and says like, what are your emissions from what your whole fleet? Because it's really just about the whole fleet, isn't it? That MaxMine's focuses on.
Yeah, we're generally only doing load and haul fleet.
Yeah.
And I guess what we're using, we've got 5.5 million hours, over 5.5 million hours of real data that we've been able to use to build these calculations and build the product.
Okay, and I suppose so. You've got your own hardware on the trucks and the gear. So because I know I've worked with dispatch system like it's a module and whatever in the past, but you've got your own hardware, so you're not going through any third party systems. It's basically your own hardware, so you're not having to interface with any other systems. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And so we put all of our own hardware in. We've even got an onboard monitor where people don't have a fleet management system. So it's all ours. We own all of our IP and we own all of the data quality.
Okay, yeah, that probably makes it easier and seamless that you're not having to do all those tricky interfaces with different technologies.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, like the demand for like the carbon, the MaxMine Carbon side, is that something that came, from clients, or was it sort of a natural sort of evolution from what you've been doing with MaxMine in general, or was it?
Well, we definitely saw a massive push following from COP26 and the emergence of the environment, social and governance, ESG in conversations.
Yep.
So once all of our leaders signed up for net zero emissions by 2050, we certainly had a bigger pull from our existing customer base, just to understand what does that actually mean for them. So 2050 is still a long way away. We're seeing a lot more excitement in this space. The ABC even covered some of this last night. What we do know is to get to net zero, we actually need to mine more, up to 6 times more what we're already mining to build the new energy solutions. So net zero is actually not possible without mining. So to build solar, to build wind, to build all of these additional, cleaner energy sources, it needs even more and more out of the ground. So it's quite a paradox that we're in, and I guess we're just trying to help miners understand what they can do now without waiting for an alternative power source.
Yeah. So I suppose it's miners seeing the need that's the way it's going, and they're going to have to decarbonise. But it's, I suppose, knowing what their baseline is, what they're doing now, and how they can reduce it in the near term, and then as technologies evolve down the track,
exactly,
decarbonise even further. So yeah, that's good to see. There's definitely a lot of talk, but sometimes you do go, oh, is it just the vanguard of the company that's sort of pushing the limits, or is it sort of a bigger movement within the broader industry?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we know that these new energy is coming, and that's amazing, and people are doing such great work in that space. But we can actually do this today We can start today and not wait.
Yep. No, you can start doing what you can now whilst technology comes on board.